Sup guys, Christos here, and oh my god, Bitcoin could potentially go insane this week. Currently, we have the price testing new all-time highs, interest increasing over the past 30 days, and in the past 24 hours alone, we have seen trading volumes increase by 44%. But why is this, and why do I think this could get even crazier over the next coming weeks? Well, it's all down to one thing, and that is the recently approved Bitcoin ETF that is actually going to be launching today, or if you're watching this video at a later date, October the 19th on the New York Stock Exchange. Basically, all I'm going to be doing in this video is sharing every single thing that I know about this brand new ETF so far, what it actually is, and then the potential and the risks that it could actually mean for the price of Bitcoin in the future. Now, all I ask from you guys is simply, if you're excited for this video, then make sure you do drop this video a like down below, and of course, subscribe if you want more content like this. But having said all that, let's jump straight into it. Okay, so let's kick things off by talking about what exactly is this new Bitcoin ETF. So firstly, the ETF that is going to be launching on October the 19th is by a company called ProShares, and it will actually go live on the New York Stock Exchange under the ticker symbol BITO. Now, for those that are completely new to ETFs, basically what these are classed as are exchange traded funds, and basically an ETF is a type of security that tracks either an index, sector or commodity that can be sold and bought on a regular stock exchange just the way that any other individual stock can be. One analogy that I always like to use when explaining these is that, let's say when you buy an individual stock, you are essentially buying one share of that company, right? However, when you're buying an ETF or buying into an ETF, let's say, what you're essentially doing is buying a basket of different companies or assets. Now, going back to the Bitcoin ETF, one interesting thing about this is that it's not actually going to be investing directly into Bitcoin itself. Instead, what it's going to be doing is investing into Bitcoin futures. Now, put simply, a futures contract is simply an agreement to buy or sell an asset at a future date at an agreed upon price. So, in this case, the Bitcoin ETF won't be tracking the actual price of Bitcoin. Instead, it will actually track the cash settle futures contracts. The reason why I believe that they have gone down this route is, number one, they are not actually going to have to pay a ridiculous amount of money in safety in terms of storing this Bitcoin to protect it against hackers. And then number two, this can actually be regulated much easier, and is probably what was needed to happen to be able to get this ETF approved in the first place. But yeah, that is simply what is going to be launching today, or depending when you're watching this video, unless the SE steps in last minute, of course, and blocks this attempt. But basically what we are going to be seeing is the first ever Bitcoin ETF where institutional investors are going to be able to invest into the cryptocurrency market. So what does this all mean for Bitcoin in general? Well, as a whole, I think this can only be good news for Bitcoin in the long term, because what this is actually going to do is give people access to the crypto space that have never had access before. It could be people that are simply not educated about crypto in general. It could be people that are looking to potentially invest into Bitcoin or other cryptocurrencies for a retirement fund, or it simply could be people that have wanted to invest into crypto for a long time, but they have struggled to trust the regular crypto exchanges, where recently it seems like a new one is getting hacked every single month. However, with launching an ETF like this, it's also going to bring certain forms of regulation from the government surrounding the currency. Now, this is a highly debated topic online within the crypto forums and things like that, on whether this is actually going to be good or bad for the currency in general. On one hand, you have some crypto advocates saying that regulation is going against the main point of Bitcoin in the first place, where Bitcoin is a place where transparency is 100% and people can make anonymous payments. However, on the flip side, you have people saying that regulation is going to bring more protection to investors against the numerous crypto scams that we see on a weekly basis. Another positive case for regulations is that it could have also been the deciding factor that large institutions have been waiting on to convict themselves on taking the plunge into cryptocurrencies in the first place, in terms of whether this is actually going to be good or bad for their investors. So realistically, this one is always going to be highly debated on whether regulation is actually a positive thing for the currency, and I think it's something that you just need to make what you want out of this scenario. But regardless of all of that, the main positive from all of this is that now institutional investors are going to be able to get their hands on Bitcoin, and this is only going to push for Bitcoin to become more mainstream and more apparent in our everyday lives, and it is only going to grow. Now, let's actually talk about the thing that most people of you are watching this video for, and that is, what does all of this mean for the price of Bitcoin in the short term? Well, first up, as you can see here, the price of Bitcoin is already nearing new all-time highs over the past 2 weeks, and I think one of the main catalysts behind this is, of course, the anticipation of this brand new ETF, because this has in fact been going on for a while. So what I think we could potentially be seeing here is a complete repeat of the old El Salvador stuff, where essentially leading up to the day of the announcement, the price was pumping every single day, and on that day of launching the first country to have Bitcoin as a legal tender, the price just flash crashed within minutes. Now, this is very common in any form of investing and is known as buying the rumor and selling the news, and I think this could be a very likely outcome on the launch of this ETF. Another scenario that I think we could potentially see, however I do think this one is extremely unlikely, is the SEC, despite approving the new ETF, in fact blocking it or something like that last minute, potentially causing Bitcoin's price to plummet. But like I mentioned, I think this one is a go right now, and probably by the time you watch this video, you will already know the outcome of this one. Now, when it comes to talking about the scenario that could potentially drive Bitcoin's price even higher than what it is right now, of course, and I guess there is only really one thing everyone is talking about, and that is simply all the new money that is going to be entering this space. Just taking a look at some estimates online, it actually reads that institutional investors actually account for roughly 70% of stock trading volume on a daily basis, which is of course an extremely large amount, and with a Bitcoin ETF being introduced into this fold, it's most certainly going to see a lot of action in the future. So realistically, when it comes to determining what is actually going to happen price-wise, then in all honesty, in a situation like this, I don't think that we actually know. Is the news already priced in? Will this spike in trading volume actually cause certain trading algorithms to dump large holdings, or will the price just keep going up? Either way, I think this is good news for crypto in general and can only be a good thing if you are a long-term investor in Bitcoin. But having said all that, that is today's video. All in all, a great day for the future of cryptocurrencies, and hopefully if you're currently invested, then by now it's been a great day for your holdings as well. If you wanted to continue the conversation about Bitcoin or any kind of other investments, then make sure you do join my free to join investing Discord group. The link is going to be in the description down below. But having said all that, take care, and I'll see you guys in the next one.